Well, the 49ers, after releasing half of their Super Bowl roster, I think it's safe to say the 49ers are going to miss the playoffs for the second straight time next year.
You're mocking me, aren't you? Oh, no. I'm looking alien.
Let's talk football.
Alrighty, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the All Around Sports Podcast, where sports are everything on this channel. I'm your host, Antonio. Today, we are talking about, again, the San Francisco 49ers. The Niners, after releasing half of their Super Bowl runner-up roster, now have put themselves into a hole, and the NFC West is now starting to open up for the Seahawks and especially the Rams.
You can't defeat me.
No, I know. But he got.
But the thing is about this team, I'm gonna go over a specific opinion that I believe needs to be said more in this video. But the Niners, they are just so confusing. They went to the Super Bowl 2 years ago, and then all of a sudden, after complaining about injuries last year, decided to release half of their Super Bowl roster. I mean, like, what? So I'm gonna go about this more in just a second. Before we get started, though, if you guys do enjoy this video, please be sure to do me a big favor and smash the like button down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. But for now, let's talk about the Niners. The Niners. My bold prediction on them is they're gonna miss the playoffs again, because there's no other way I could see them making the playoffs.
I'll kill all you for this. Yoo-hoo, Mr. Pirate! Oh, Redbeard!
They released half of their guys after going 6-11, and you all of a sudden think that's going to make you get better? Because let me get this straight: 70% of those guys that you let go of were hurt. That of those guys you let go of were injured most of the season. Dre Greenlaw, Talihu Funga, Charvarius Ward, and multitude of others. And you trade away Jordan Mason for a sixth?
Did you forget who I am? What have I done?
You should have at least gotten a second or third round pick for Jordan Mason. Instead, you get a sixth. Really? But somebody's got to say it, so I'm going to say it. The York family is the worst ownership family in the NFL. I know people are going to look at the Jones family at the Cowboys, but Jerry Jones is the GM and owner. If we are looking at ownership alone, the York family is the worst ownership in the National Football League. Let me go over some things. So Jed York has owned the 49ers since 2010. Denise York, the mother of Jed York, has owned the Niners since 2000 through 2008. And then her son eventually took over. Let me pull up some accomplishments since that point. The 49ers have had a total record of 195, 208, and 1. That is a losing record. And then also, let me go over some other things. They've had two 500 years, which were both 8 and 8. They have had 14 losing seasons. 9 and only 9 winning seasons. They've had more losing seasons than they've had winning seasons. And then also, they've had 6 NFC West titles, 7 NFC title games, 3 NFC title wins, and 3 Super Bowl appearances. Yet they have no Super Bowl ring to show for it. And then also, let's go over the coaching and quarterback since then. They have had 8 different head coaches since then. That includes Steve Mariucci, Dennis Erickson, Mike Nolan, Mike Singletary, Jim Harbaugh, Tom Sula, Chip Kelly, and Kyle Shanahan. And then let's go over the quarterbacks. They've had 20 different starting quarterbacks. That's 20 with a 2 and a 0. They've had Jeff Garcia, Tim Ratley, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Ken Dorsey, Alex Smith, Cody Pickett, Trent Dilfer, Sean Hill, Chris Winicky, JT O'Sullivan, Troy Smith, Colin Kaepernick, Braylon Gabbard, CJ Beathard, Nick Mullins, Jimmy Garoppolo, Trey Lance, Sam Darnold, who is now in Seattle, Brandon Allen, Joshua Dobbs, and Brock Purdy. Three of those quarterbacks that were starters actually went and started in a Super Bowl. This ownership has had opportunities. And remember, Jed York was the same guy that released Jim Harbaugh after taking him to a Super Bowl a few years ago. He released him because he wanted all the credit. That's why. Just like Jerry Jones wanted to when Jimmy Johnson left. He was the man that wanted all the credit. He wanted to do it his way. The Jed York family has owned the 49ers for 23 years. And yet they have no Super Bowl ring to show for it. They've had Hall of Fame type like players. I'm going to name out the few that I know right off the top of my head. They've had Patrick Willis. They've had Randy Moss, Michael Crabtree, Colin Kaepernick. They've had Jimmy Garoppolo, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, who is gone, Jawan Jennings, Christian McCaffrey, Raheem Mostert. I mean, I could go on about the great players that were a part of this Niners team that couldn't get it done. And look at where those other guys are now. This 49ers ownership is the worst ownership in the National Football League. If we're talking about ownership alone, somebody has to say it, so I'm going to be the one that says it. But speaking about the Niners, I believe they're not even close to being ahead of Seattle, ahead of Rams. I mean, the Rams are still going to win the division. Seattle probably is going to be at number 2. If we're and you can make an argument, but the argument is no more because you release half of your Super Bowl roster. I believe the Cardinals are right now ahead of you. But the 49ers, I want to ask this specific question. Why has John Lynch been in there so long? Why has Kyle Shanahan been there so long? At some point, even Jed York knows this. You got to reset. You got to let go of your head coach and GM. And I'm thinking if they miss the playoffs, which they are going to, John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan are going to lose their jobs. They are going to be out of a job. Now, I'm not saying that Kyle Shanahan doesn't deserve to be a head coach. He absolutely deserves to be a head coach. But when you have been in the Niners organization, as long as you have to win a championship. There is no excuse for you not to have a championship by now. This all started when you had a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl when you were part of the offensive coordinator group of the Atlanta Falcons. It all started there, and we all know what happened there. You eventually lose 2 Super Bowls after that with 2 talented rosters. Each of the Super Bowls that they have made Super Bowl appearances, and they've had Hall of Fame rosters. They've had Hall of Fame caliber rosters. Patrick Willis is already in the Hall of Fame, even though he didn't do jack. And Colin Kaepernick, he's not going to be in the Hall of Fame, but he could have had an argument if he would have had a Super Bowl ring. Randy Moss, he's in the Hall of Fame. But this is what conflicts me about this Niners team. They never get the job done. They never can. This is who the 49ers are. Whenever they have a stacked roster, they can never, ever finish the job. And that is why Jed York and the York family is the worst ownership family in the National Football League. Case closed. what you guys think. What are your thoughts on the 49ers? Do you guys think the 49ers are going to miss the playoffs? And do you guys think the York family is the worst ownership family in the NFL? So I can't wait to talk about this more as we get through the season and the off season. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please make sure to do me a big favor and smash the like button down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Well, until next time, I'll see you all in the next one. Ciao for now.